Hi, this is Mark Soden. I'm here as Fog Machine with Santa Ana Noise Fest 15. I'm here with Suraj Patra and Patrick Leahy of Voluntary Null Compliance.
Hey guys, my name is Suraj. I am based out of Hawthorne in Los Angeles.
And Patrick,
Hey y'all, I'm Patrick and I'm coming out of Alhambra, California.
what started you down the path to what you are presenting at Santa Ana Noise Fest 15?
Uh, I can go first with this one. Um, so specifically, what I'll be doing at Santa Ana Noise Fest is mostly based around the type of works I've been doing as of late, and it really because before, like at like 6 months or more before, my approach to just sound art, noise, anything like that was very much just very performative. It was so much more about like, like look at me, here's a contact mic. I'm going to yell into the contact mic and it'll be on top of something, you know what I mean? Um and and it was really as much as I like that stuff, I found that it was like I ran into a lot of option paralysis because for such a specific thing, I would then go and perform and forget what I was gonna say, like constantly. You know what I mean? I was like, that was and like the worst thing is like I've only been performing for about a year or so, and the worst thing ever is like getting 5 minutes here into your own set and feeling bored with what you're doing. And I got graced by my sister, who is also a musician, and like way more established than me. Um, she gifted me a CDJ. She had this old Pioneer CDJ that she had lying around, and I just kind of got obsessed with that sound of the CD skipping because it's one of those old ones where you know when you pause the CD, usually a DJ would like fade it out and transition to something else. But something about like the way the CDJ just holds a note, like a very brief note, and how you could just move in and out of a song with that. It just became everything because suddenly I started going back. I went on Discogs, I went on Amazon. I started going buying CDs of all of these things I already liked, even of like records I already had, and I was like, I want to hear what it sounds like when I'm in full control of it. So it's pretty much like the core of what I'll be bringing to a Santa Ana Noise Fest.
Okay, Patrick, how about you?
I guess it really comes down to for me, I've done so much conventional music. I grew up playing jazz and I grew up playing rock and all that conventional styles of music. And recently I've felt in a very heavy creative rut. And when I met Suraj a while ago, and started talking to me about doing noise shows. I've always had like kind of a toe into listening into the noise scene and been going to shows with him, and I just really wanted to do it. And I feel like for me, exploring the noise genre is so much of kind of breaking those conventions inside myself, of what I think should sound good. I am always my worst critic when it comes to music, so when I'm doing something like what I'm doing with Suraj, it's just like I am doing my best to throw my preconceptions of what should sound good out the window and just really trying to live in the musical moment as much as possible. And it really just feels as liberating as possible for me. And I've really been enjoying it recently.
How do you guys prepare for a performance?
Um,
Yep.
so how do we do that? Because I think more or less what we end up doing is we get together, we'll practice, and an hour in we'll decide what we didn't like about that. Because I think it was like the real bridge we have to cross constantly is like what sounds good on paper but isn't actually feasible to do live, or isn't or doesn't come off as cogent as what we think we're doing. Because like it turned out me doing very scattered harsh noise and Patrick doing saxophone, for some reason in my head I'm like, oh, those will just mix together sonically automatically. And then it turned out I would drown him out constantly, or his stuff would get caught in my stuff and get start feedbacking, and I'd be like, oh, okay, hold on, there actually has to be a little bit of planning. It's been mostly like completely improvised and really just like focusing on not what we're doing, but like the parameters maybe. Like, okay, I'm gonna take a pedal out here, or I'm gonna keep the PA only at this level for this to sound correct. Like it's been trying to limit those things, but then just jamming like what we actually play is like completely made up every time.
Yeah, for me, it comes down to like kind of mentally cataloging all the different sounds that I can make on a saxophone and like really feeling like I can have control over those, And then past there, it's just like really what like I was talking about earlier, just trying to live in the moment. It's like, all right, what does Suraj do? How do I counterbalance that? If he's doing something really harsh, how can I add a little bit of melody type stuff in there? Or if he's doing something slightly melodic, how can I just make a blaring, screaming sound, to counterbalance whatever is going on? Almost like a kind. I'd like to imagine it as like a yin and yang. In practice, I don't know how it turns out all the time, but it's definitely fun every single time.
Yeah, we usually just play until somebody in the neighborhood is asking us to stop.
That is a good sign. That's proper. Do you have a favorite piece of gear that you will be using for Santa Ana Noise Fest 15 that you would like to introduce?
Yeah. I can go for it again. This is the aforementioned CDJ. It comes as a pair, but yeah, I have no idea how my sister even got a hold of one of these things. I'm pretty sure it's from Japan, but um, everything about it is like it really helps me capitalize on the fact that I really have a terrible internal sense of rhythm and tempo, which is like very important to have if you're using any DJ equipment. And so I have a lot of fun with just like slowing things down, cutting these loops up, pausing these things, making it skip around. Basically, like what my friend put it to me is like he said, it's a fun set. It's arguably the worst DJ set he's ever seen. And I'm like, yeah, that's kind of the vibe. It's kind of like, I'm using DJ equipment, but I'm not planning on doing any of the usual things.
And you, Patrick?
Yeah, I just have one. I'll be playing my tenor sax. It's a very old Kahn tenor sax from, I think it's my dad got it in the 50s. He played it when he was in high school marching band and jazz band and stuff like that back in the 60s and 70s. And I ended up with it because he stopped playing. I was playing in a band. They needed a sax player, so I picked it up. That's pretty much all I'll be using.
That's great. That's a great story, and it looks like a wonderful instrument. Do you have any events on the horizon other than Santa Ana Noise Fest 15?
The only big one is so this Friday I'm throwing a show at Coaxial Arts with Ted Burns, Sobbing Honey, so Grant and Mike Mean Streets. Just all of the friends I've made along the way in the LA scene, mainly from photography stuff. And we're all gonna get together and play on Friday for my birthday. And it's gonna be a loud one. It's gonna be great.
Happy birthday. That's
Thank you.
awesome. And Patrick?
Yeah, I currently do not. It's been years since I've like really been playing live music regularly. I think 2.5 years ago was when my last band was playing regularly, and we played a show maybe like a year and a half ago and then kind of fizzled out. Other than that, I've just kind of been taking a step back in, and kind of getting back into the motion of things.
Do you guys have anything that you want to say to cap off the interview?
For me, thank you, Mark. I really appreciate the opportunity. Really appreciate the opportunity to play. I'm very excited. And I guess one last thing is R.I.P. Ace Ford. That was a guy that I really appreciated in the scene. I'm very sad to hear his passing recently. So I wanted to just put that in there.
Patrick?
Yeah, I'll also echo the rest in peace, Ace Ford. He was a good friend's dad and kind of almost pushed me into this scene a little bit as far as like an inspiration point, especially as another horn player. And other than that, I'm just excited to be playing.
Thank you very much. Well, this is Mark Soden for Santa Ana Noise Fest 15 with voluntary null compliance, Suraj, Patra, and Patrick Leahy. Thank you, gentlemen. Have a good evening.
You too, Mark. Thank you so much.
Thank you.